You know, it's funny how often you read the short biography of an author that you find on the jacket of a book, and you learn that the author was born in one country, raised in another, and is now residing in Connecticut or Colorado and churning out stellar literature in English. It seems that there's something about that early international experience that informs one's stories about life and relationships. Joseph Conrad had that sort of experience. He was born in Poland, traveled the world as a merchant marine, and then spent the second half of his life writing great books in his adopted language, English. Vladimir Nabokov is another. He was born to a wealthy family in Russia, was exiled to France and Germany during the Revolution. He later spent years as a professor at Cornell University and wrote many of his best books in English. Next month's book for our Tuesday evening book discussion group is by Joseph O'Neill, an author with similar experience. He was born in Ireland but raised primarily in Holland. He went to Cambridge University and practiced as a barrister in London. Now he lives and writes in New York. The book is called Netherland. I don't know at what level it can be called autobiographical, but its main character's story seems to evoke the author's experience. Hans van den Broek is a wealthy young banker from the Netherlands who's married to Rachel, a woman from England who's a successful attorney. They live in London, where they're raising their infant son, Jake. But they've decided, for whatever reason, to move to New York for a while, or, as Hans expresses it early in the story, to drop in on New York for a year or three and then come back. While the theme of 9/11 pervades the book, it is as a ghostly presence, rarely explicitly evoked. When the story begins, the family is living in the Chelsea Hotel, famed haunt of artists, expatriates, and eccentrics, because their apartment in New York is no longer inhabitable. Nobody ever says because of 9/11, but you get that sense. The story's set in motion when Rachel decides to leave Hans, taking their son and flying back to London to live with her parents to sort things out. Left at loose ends, Hans finds a group of fellow expatriates who play cricket, his childhood passion. Soon he befriends Chuck Ramkissoon, an entrepreneur who wants to create the New York Cricket Club, a major venue for promoting the game in America. Hans's growing relationship with Chuck, whom he slowly comes to realize is a small-time bookie and a thug more than a businessman, forms the core of the story. Throughout, he flies back and forth from New York to London to visit his wife and son and try to get his marriage back on track. But Rachel has grown angry with America, with the Bush administration, and with its imperial invasion of Iraq, and can't seem to separate that anger from her disillusionment with her husband. O'Neill's writing is sensitive and lyrical. His colorful characters are very real, and the story is compelling enough to keep you reading straight through. To describe the book as a post-9/11 New York story seems somehow to completely miss the point. Our book discussion group will meet and talk about Netherland at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, April 3rd. It looks like there are still copies of the book available, so check one out and join us.